Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be showing you guys my attempt to outperform any index ETFs. So the main focus of the script is to long any constituents with the top market cap. So we're going to be looking at ranks, and I'm going to show you the returns if we rebalance daily, weekly, or monthly. So as an example, if we were to pick the daily rebalancing, I would take the top couple of tickers with the largest market cap, and I'm going to go ahead and long those stocks and then rebalance the next day. So my thinking behind this was that I believe that the top market cap leaders within each ETF helps the index or ETF move up in itself. So we're going to go ahead and try and test that and see what type of returns we get. So to start, here are some of the packages we're going to require. Now to get the constituents within each ETF, I'm going to go ahead and use this function. I actually made a video regarding how to do that, so I'm not going to go over this function, except that we get the constituents from bar chart. So you can pick any ticker, and here I'm just going to focus on the IWM or the Russell 2000. I'm going to go ahead and run that function and get the constituents. So if we take a look at that data frame, here we have approximately 2,000 entries with the symbol, the company name, and their percentage weight. So all we really need from this table are the tickers. Now there might be some sort of bias since I know these ETFs rebalance yearly or every couple of months depending on the ETF. But as a focus, I'm just going to be backtesting from January of this year until present. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Now that I have the symbols, I can go ahead and collect the daily data. I'm going to be using my database, but as a workaround, you can use Yahoo Finance. So here I have provided an alternative. So I'm going to go ahead and read in my stock data. So here I'll run the function, and what I'll be doing is just passing in the ticker and read in all the closes. And after we get that list for all the tickers, I'm going to go ahead and merge that together. And like I said, I only want to focus on this year's data. So I'll go ahead and run this. All right, so we'll take a look at that data frame. So this is what your table should look like. We have the dates and the ticker names. So I have the main ETF as the first column and the constituents for the rest. So as you notice, I was only able to pull approximately 1,800 different tickers from approximately 2,000, and that's just because I don't have the data for the smaller companies perhaps, but hopefully that shouldn't be an issue. So I'll go ahead and close this out. All right. So the next portion is to read in our historical market cap data. Now there's a couple of ways to go about this. I have a script that collects this data on a daily basis. So the first couple of lines will just read in those files and extract the market cap data for each of the days. And I'll go ahead and provide this data along with the script. But going forward, you can scrape this data as well. And I think I have a video on how to scrape fundamental data. And this data is from Robinhood using the Robinhood API. But as I mentioned, I'll go ahead and provide those files for you. And within these files, I have daily data for multiple tickers. So no matter what ETF you use, it should be able to grab most of the constituents data using this function. So to get the market cap data within these files, I'm just going to pass in the ticker and the files. And what this will do is I'm going to go ahead and look within each of the files for that particular ticker. So it'll loop through the day's data and extract that market cap for the ticker you pass in. So in case I cannot find the data for that particular day, I'm just going to null all the empty list using this line. So if the market cap data is found, I'm going to go ahead and row bind all the data together so that we have a nice extensible object. I'm going to make the index unique and reclass that data so that I have an extensible object instead of a data frame, and assign a column name, which is just the ticker name. Otherwise, if I cannot find any of the data, I'm just going to make market cap null, and then just finally just return the market cap data. So I'll go ahead and minimize this and run it. So this line will loop through all of the tickers, and the first thing it'll do is it'll print the ticker name out on your console so that if it crashes, you see what ticker it stumbled upon. So I'll go ahead and minimize this. I'm not going to run this because this takes some time, but I'll go ahead and provide you with latest market cap for the SPY, IWM, and the Qs. So just for the index ETFs. But I'm just explaining how this works in case you need to run this for a ETF that I haven't listed here. So after you get the market caps, I'm just going to eliminate all the nulls using this line. I'm going to merge all the data together. And if there's some days where I wasn't able to get the market cap, then I'm just going to use NA approximate to fill in those NAs. And I want data up to December 17th of 2021. So let's go ahead and read the market cap data for the IWM. So if we take a look at market caps, So now we have daily market cap data for all of the constituents within the IWM. So now let's take a look at the next function, which will be ranking these market caps. Alright, so the very next thing we need is to subset available data only. And this is just because my market cap data and my daily data may differ in stocks we have within them. So what I'll do is I'm going to pass in the names of market caps that I have available and only extract those stocks that we have data for and exclude all others. So this is what these lines are doing. I'm just going to regroup my data. Now the next thing I'll be doing is I'm going to calculate returns, and these are discrete returns for daily, weekly, and monthly. So I'll go ahead and run these lines. Alright, so our main function is called rank market cap, which will just use all the available data that we just calculated and rank the stocks by market cap. So here we have three parameters. The first parameter is market caps. We need to pass in that market cap data frame. The second parameter is called top N, or the number of stocks to include. So if you only want to include the top 5, you would just insert 5 here. And the frequency, we have three options: D for daily, W for weekly, and M for monthly. And we'll take a look at all of these three cases. So if we open this function up, the first thing I'll do is extract the index in market caps. And if the frequency is D for daily, it will complete this block. But if we minimize these, here we see the three cases, so daily, weekly, and monthly. They are all essentially the same thing. So if we open up daily, I'm going to pass in the returns, and for each of the rows in days, which is the index and market caps, I'm going to get the ranks. So here I'm just going to pass in the index. I'm going to extract the market caps for each of the days. I'm going to order in decreasing form, extract the names of the top N tickers that we choose. And then if you notice here, I'm using the very next day returns. So say we get the top N stocks for each day. I want the returns for the following day. So for any of the cases, we're going to extract the top N stocks with the highest market cap, and then we're going to long those and hold those for the next rebalancing period. So after that's done, I'm going to include only complete cases. I'm going to merge all the data together, extract the names, and convert it as a data frame. So what I'll be returning is the index, which is what day this was for, my main data frame or the returns, and the ticker names. So after we get that, I'm going to go ahead and rbind list and format the column names. So it'll be the date, the return, and the tickers. I'm going to also make an extensible object and return both the data frame and the XTS object as a list. So let's go ahead and minimize this and run this. So we'll take a look at the daily rebalancing period. So here all you need to pass in is the market caps. The top N, I'm just going to pass in 3, and the frequency will be day. And I'm also going to compare that with the top 5, 10, and 15 tickers. So if we run this block, I'm going to go ahead and add the benchmark as well, which is the IWM in this case. I'm going to merge all the returns together, reformat the column names, and then plot it. So if we take a look at the plot, so in the case of the Russell 2000 ETF, we see that it's this blue line here, which has been moving sideways throughout this year. And the top performer, which is the red line, is the top 5. The next in line is the top 10. Then the blue line with the top 15. And kind of the worst performer out of the bunch is the top 3. So again, this is rebalancing daily. So the cumulative return of the best performer is approximately 150%. Compared to close to 0 for just holding the benchmark or the ETF itself. So now let's look at the returns if we were to rebalance weekly. And for these lines, you can just extract the unique tickers for each of the rebalancing periods. So here we have a couple of combinations as market caps changed throughout. Alright, so for the weekly, we'll go ahead and do the same thing. All that really changes is this W for weekly. Alright, so for the cumulative return, it looks like the red line or the top 5 is again the winner with approximately 150% as well. And the worst performer was the actual ETF. In this case, it may be that for other ETFs, the benchmark may be better. But in the case of the IWM, it looks like holding the top 5 in the daily and weekly seem to outperform the ETF itself. So this may be a little bit more useful as we don't have to crunch the market cap each day, and it's a little bit more relaxed if we do this on a weekly basis. So now let's take a look at the monthly basis and see what type of returns we get. So I'll go ahead and run this block. Alright, so doing this on a monthly basis, seems to underperform the actual ETF. So the strategy may be useful for higher frequencies rather than the lower frequencies, as there may be more volatility. But I recommend you view all 3 rebalancing periods, as maybe it's different for other ETFs. So now let's take a look at the next block. And the next block just gets you the next set of tickers. So as of today, let's take a look at the latest tickers if we were to rebalance this daily. So here we get the day that the market caps were calculated, which was 12/17. And if we were to choose the top 10, these would be the tickers we need to long for the next day. So I'll see if I could create a script that does this automatically. But in the meantime, you can play around with different ETFs and see which ones may be worth looking into. So as I mentioned, I'll go ahead and leave the script along with the RDS files where you can get the market caps for all of the tickers I have been scraping throughout this year. And I'll go ahead and post a link down in the description area. But this concludes the video, guys. I really hope this was useful information. Please let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, let me know. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.